Hi there, this is Dawn. Welcome to my art room and welcome to my YouTube channel. It's lovely to have you join me. And today I'm working on the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Volume 7 Still Life. And, I've got a bit excited about it. I had been working slowly on this piece, hadn't got very far with it because I got distracted with other projects, but what I had started to do was look at some shading. My biggest problem was that I'm using. It's not a problem, but I'm using wool for wool embroidery, and I'm finding it to be really flat. I'm struggling with it. I've struggled from the beginning about how dark I began this project, and so trying to pull in some light from different places. I've added these little leaves. They're ones that I dyed a long time ago. They're in my stash. It's a trim. I'm going to be very sad when it's gone because I don't even know where I got the trim, but I dyed it, and it's sort of got a variation of greens and yellows and oranges, and I've used it for so many things. But I thought it might go nicely. Number one, with the rose. I've just got that sitting there because I invariably forget what colour I used somewhere. And I thought if I leave it there, just need a big pin to hold it down. Because what I'd done was I started putting some stitches in here and that'll continue. And so I thought if I put that bit of wool there, I don't know what happens. I always seem to muddle up or lose it or something. And so I thought, I needed to make sure that I had the same wool. Anyway, yes, so the leaves I thought looked like this colour range, so I'm not really introducing anything more to that. If you remember in my previous video, I added these lace flowers and they were on top of these pieces. There's one here, one there, and one here. And so I've removed the underlay. Again, trying to create that lightness that I didn't feel that I had enough of. So they're still nice little pieces to hang on to, probably not that bit, but the rest are nice little things that I can make a decision. I'm not going there yet. I'm just concentrating on this part here and felt like I just needed to get it right. It's a bit smaller before I tackle up here because only my three-dimensional part will be these laces. I've got 2 layers of that again. It's lace that I've dyed, just happens to be vaguely the right colour, I think. Anyway, I think it's the right colour. Cool. All right, so back to the wool embroidery. I thought it was a bit flat. And when I was doing my piece for my Fleur Woods course, I had used wool and then overstitched it with I think just DMC, or it could have been like a silk embroidery thread, which just brought some light to it. And so I've done the same thing here. So I added it there. I've added it. I don't know whether you're going to be able to see, or you might be able to see. It's very fine. It's here. It's throughout the leaf. Can I direct? I don't think that light's going to help. I was thinking, no, not going to make it any different. If I do that, there, now you might be able to see it. Yeah, see how, so what it's done is just brought some light to it. I've done the same thing in those bits there, probably not quite as intense. I've been quite strategic about where I added some of that fluoro in the middle, yes, but on the tops of the leaves and darker underneath the bits, just to sort of, And I'd done the same thing here, and then when I was watching what Rachel was doing yesterday, I got all excited and added those extra cross-hatched bits that I really like the look of. And so, yes, thank you, Rachel. And down the side here, adding some shadow. I'll take you back out. Is that normal? Yeah. Because from a distance, it looks like a shadow. So the further away you get, and as it hangs up on the wall, it's going to look good. Every artist stands back and looks. They don't put their nose up against the canvas. And so I thought, well, I'm going to do that too. I'm going to add some shadow. So then I went off on a bit of a look and couldn't find. I've got this bit of red cheesecloth that would be exactly the right. That's it. That's all I could find. I'm sure I've got another bit somewhere, but I know that I used it in a few different things. So when I get those dies out, but that would have been quite good, going down the side. Not enough. Can't do it. Not going anywhere. Not getting the dies out just yet. So I went, all right, well, how else can I do this? And I found this black tulle. It's very, very fine. And so one layer is good, 2 layers. So one layer, you can see I get a bit of shadow, and 2 layers I get a bit more shadow. And so I played with this last night and thought I need to come and tell you about it today, but I wanted to make sure that it was actually going to work. I'm going to add some down the bottom here, and again possibly 2 layers of it. So see how it really changes once, and I could probably get it even darker again if I put another layer on it. It's just a very fine one. It's something that came, so it's not like on the roll like that. It's on the roll like this with these glittery bits in it. It's probably a dance costume from back in the day when I made dance costumes. And so I've just cut around those sparkly bits, left them to the side, and I guess what I'm trying to say is that I didn't buy that black tulle off the roll. It came like that. It's a little bit stretchy. Yeah, probably was a dance costume. No memory. But anyway, yes, crosswise it'll stretch. But it might be something you can look around for or have, or find a scarf. The nylon scarves that our mums wore over the top of their hair rollers. I've used them once before. Have I got one right here? I do. I mean, I have black tulle as well, but it's very stiff. But, these sort of hair scarves that people put over their rollers, my mum used to do it, not me. I'm not quite that old. But you can sometimes find these still in the op shop. They're hard to find. There you go, 100% nylon. This one was made in Japan. It's old. But if you can find a black one's great, because you don't get the heaviness of anything, adding anything else. You can still see what's under it, so it does look like a shadow. You could try normal black tulle. This is normal black tulle, and it's probably the same. It's just a bit coarser than the one that I'm using, but it's the same stuff. The same stuff, basically. But I like this fine one. Organza is another thing that you could use, and it would have the same effect. One layer and then a second one. So this is just like it's probably a nylon. I don't know if it's a silk organza. It's got a bit of a sheen to it. That one probably would have been good if I'd looking for light, but I didn't want to add too much of anything. All right, so they're things that you could use. I tried lace. I had a bit of black lace and I thought, oh, that might look really nice. No, see, it's just too heavy. And that's by the by. But then I found that other bit of tulle and went, yeah, that's a really good thing. So I'm going to show you that in 2 seconds. The other thing that happened yesterday, while I was, folding the washing, and I was doing it in front of the telly, and I watched Ariana Zerka, and she was making these little beaded tendrils. I was like, I want some of them. They're a bullion knot that's very long. It's got a bead threaded onto it, and I thought there's another bit of light. So I've added it here just for a bit of interest, and I thought I'm going to maybe put something here or something here, maybe both, I don't know. More is less, less is more. More is never enough. We'll have more of everything. Cool. All right. So I'm going to get myself organised and come right back. The other thing that I'm using are the rayon threads to stitch the netting down with, and that's what I'm using to add the extra light in here are the rayon threads because they've got a shine. They're nice and thin, they don't take up a lot of room. All right, I'm going to come back in just a minute when I get myself sorted, but I wanted to come and tell you what I'm going to be working on this video. Okay, be back in 2 seconds. Okay, I'm back. I've been playing just with some, with the, what am I trying to say, the tulle. And what I want to do, so this one is sort of that width, and I want a thinner one that I thought I had here a second ago, and it's done a disappearing act here. I'm got 2 pieces. The second piece I don't want to be as wide, so I'm just going to trim that a bit and make it a little bit narrower. If I could just untangle some bits and pieces. Thought I was organised and I'm not. So I'm just going to narrow it down just a bit so that the shading is then, it's graded. All right, I must need to probably, fiddle around with that for a second. What I have done is stitched those leaves down, which is a nuisance, but I haven't stitched these, thank goodness. So I'm just going to tuck it in there and just go to those leaves on that bit there, but I won't trim it until I'm ready. What I've done here is put all my needles here that I'm using because I get a needle that I love and I put it in the pin cushion and then I can't find which one it was. So with this rayon thread, I thought black on its own was too hard, and I would have loved to have had a slate grey, but I don't, so that's the end of that. So what I'm doing is using some red and some black. Yes, okay, so this one's going to be painful as well. Where's the end? Where is the end? Oh, for goodness sakes, I just used it not that long ago. Here. Here I go. So I'm just going to put the two together. So I'm hoping, well, I've done it, and what I did with the leaves was I used the black and a green just to try and stop it from being too black. It's not my first choice using black, because I find that it's a bit hard. But yep, I'm using what I've got. I was sure I might have had a slate grey. I've got a pale, like oystery colour grey, which is just too light. And I don't want to make a big statement of these stitches. I want them to kind of disappear. All right. Let me see which way I'm going to go. I don't know, upside down, back to front. I'm going to tuck that in there and then have this one coming around here. So what I'm going to do is just catch it on the very edge of the vase, so I don't want it sticking out too far. And I'm just going to do, I'll start at this end, can't make up my mind which way I want to start now, is like a stem stitch. So hopefully you can see those little bits are just going just over the edge, and this will help to catch it down. The rayon threads, you know, can be tricky to use because it's slippery and it'll come out of the needle, it gets caught on the tulle, all those little dramas. But hopefully at the minute I can keep that in line. But I'm going to do the same thing under some of the leaves that are hanging over the top of the vase, so that there's a little bit of shadow under the leaves. I just loved what Rachel's done with hers. It really inspired me to keep working on this for a little bit longer rather than be too hasty. So I was glad I hadn't gone too far with it. Goodness knows when it'll ever get completed. I have no idea. So this leaf has gone under the vase, so I'm all right with that one. I mean, it's only just, but that's all right. It can be behind the vase. All right, I'm going to put a stitch in there. And I'm going to go and catch that little bit in there as well, which is teeny tiny, but I think it needs to be there. Yeah, see the tulle gets a bit tangled up in the thread. So if I just go between those two leaves, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I need to bring you a little bit closer. I'm nervous about that because then I'll go off screen for sure. Oh no, you don't need to have me that close, I don't think. All right. Yes, and then I pulled the threads out of the needle. Of course I did. Of course I did. Oh, wait on there. And that's back to the normal view. Hopefully it's close enough. I'll pick it up. Yep, and just catch that there. So then what I'm going to do is come back now onto the red part of the vase and catch this layer down. What I've been doing is just doing one layer at a time just done it again. I've unthreaded it. Maybe I'll put a knot in the end. One of the things about using the rayon thread is that it starts to fray after a little while, and in particular going through, let me have another bit of light on the subject. Oh, that makes a world of difference. Gosh, I don't know if it makes a difference to you, but now I can see what I'm doing. After a while, it frays, and you need to rethread. So it's over those green leaves, but I'm going to trim that away. You don't have to go all the way through because it's, the vase is already attached. I don't need to. And I'm just doing random little stitches here and there, not doing craziness yet because I'm going to add another layer. But it's just to hold it down. And I'll go back and trim those bits before I add the second layer to it. Yeah, I'm just doing these little teeny tiny, almost like a seed stitch, just random little things. But I want to come back and come closer to the edge in a minute. All right, let's leave that there. I'm going to get rid of this excess here. And just what's over the leaf there, because I don't need that shadow on top of the leaf. A little bit tricky. Good. Now, oh, did I lose that second piece again? Every time I cut it very narrow. Oh, here it is. It's here. Good. Good, good. Not too far away at all. Now again, tucking it in. Sorry. My watch was telling me something, but I put my phone on silent because the doorbell will chime again for sure in a minute, telling me Paul's home. But it wasn't that, it was something else. All right. So I've got that second layer on. I want to come with a few stitches a little bit closer to the edge here. Just to add the darker shade of stitching close to the edge rather than out in the middle of there. But I need some thread. Good. Can you see what I'm doing? Hopefully. So I'm going to keep on adding some stitches there. But I'm really happy with the way it looks there, so I'm hoping it's going to add that same bit of depth to that side. Oh, that jewel stuck to everything. Can I find the end of this? It either unravels off the roll completely or you can't find the end, one or the other. There's no happy medium with it. I used to do a lot of freestyle machine embroidery back in the day, and So I have this nice collection of rayon threads that I'm really happy to be using because I tend to use them in normal sewing. They're a bit fine, and I really only bought them for machine embroidery, but have quite a large range of them. I used to collect them wherever I went, saw them on sale somewhere, and I'd pick up another range of colours. Sorry. Oh, I caught myself with a needle there. Very annoying. All right. I'll put a knot at the top here and a knot at the bottom. I'll finish off this last little bit up the top here, and then I'll go away. I'll complete what's going on down the side before I come back, but just wanted to show you. Got to hang on to it. It slips and slides everywhere. Good. So I've got 2 layers. I've got 1 layer here and then another layer closer to the vase. I'm just going to come back and put a couple of extra stitches in just to hold the 2 layers together. Some of it's under that leaf, so that's good. That's sort of given it some shading. I just loved it when I saw what Rachel had done. It just, gosh, her and her family together, working together on that project, it's just beautiful. And wow, what a difference it was making that I couldn't wait to get started on it. But I thought before I come and share with you, I needed to know what I was doing, not look too silly on a video. And I've got stuff all over my table because I raided my stash of bits and pieces trying to find something that was going to work well in this idea. I think Rachel's using the cheesecloth or the gauze, whatever it is. But like I said, I didn't have anything that was going to work colour-wise. Oh yeah, what I did before was I trimmed it, didn't I? I might do the same. So these little tiny stitches, they're quite visible up close, but I don't think they're ugly, and I'm not doing great big ones. And just little stitches. And then added them, built up the stitching, you know, close to the edge here, so that's another little skinny bit. Yeah, just built up down the bottom more. I've kept it minimal up the top, but added a bit more down the bottom, again for that sort of purpose of deepening the shadow. Be easier when I haven't got leaves in the way. But of course they were already stitched down before I saw what Rachel was doing, and wanted to repeat that or have a go at that myself. Good. All right. I'll trim that off, tie that off here, and then I will keep going and come back to you when I'm ready to do the next bit, which will be those little bullion tendrils. I'll add Ariana's contact down, in my description. So if you want to go and check her out, if you haven't, she's very creative in her art world. Something that I love watching mostly, and then she really inspired me to have a go myself. So just getting that extra bit off the leaf without cutting through any of what I've done. There. I think that was important to add that little bit in there, but as you can see, It's really starting to build up that depth of shading and shadow. Cool. All right, I'll go finish this bit and I'll be right back. Okay, just a minute. Okay, I've almost done it. I just need to add probably a few more stitches down the bottom, but I hope that you can see what that's done. It's really made it go like that. And I'm thrilled that Rachel was able to share that design technique with us, because it's really made me jump, that's for sure. But there's something here that I want to show you. See, can you see that little bit of shadow there? Well, that's a natural shadow from these lights. And there isn't one here that you can see. I can see one about there. So I'm going to use this same stuff. I'm going to add that. I'm so glad I haven't stitched my leaves down, but I'm going to do the same thing, put that little bit of shadow there, and I'm going to do some down the bottom here where it's sitting on the table. Maybe not as obvious. It's going to need a couple of layers just to darken it up. It might even need nearly 3 layers. Have I got another bit that's cut? Possibly not. Yeah, I might just sort of scrunch it a bit to do the same thing. So yeah, so that, now you know what I'm going to do there. But before I do that, I'll share with you these little tendrils. What I went searching for in my stash was maybe some shiny pearl cotton. I didn't have any in the right colour range. I do, but it was like in these sort of blue colours that they just weren't. I'm just going to see if I could find them. I must have put them away. I've got all of my threads here that I'm using. This one here is the one that I used with the black for around the bottom of the leaves, and this one as well in the leaves, and these in the flowers. I've still got these ones here, and that one was a bit too shiny as far as I thought for the shading. I don't know what happened to that other cotton, that other thread that I thought about. Oh, maybe it's in this one here. No, I got it out. No, I don't know where I put it. It's gone. Done a disappearing act here. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm using this one. Oh, here, these ones here. They just weren't going to work with this design, so I thought about them, but I've gone for this olivey green colour. I don't know what this thread is. It's quite fibrous. It's not quite a ribbon. You know, it's got... you couldn't split it to use it. You have to use it this way. It doesn't have anything significant on the label. You know, it was probably called something funny like glamour thread or some weird thing like that, but I've had it for too long. It just says designer 6. I don't know what it is, so I'm really sorry that I can't tell you what it is. But anyway, it worked pretty good. Well, that's it there. And it's the perfect colouring. So I've picked a long needle for this, because you need to do heaps of wraps. And the beads that I used have got a fairly decent hole that, you know, I checked it before I used it. So, yep. So, let's go. I'll show you how my interpretation of what Ariana does. It's you need quite a long length because it's a lot of wraps, and a long needle so that you can get a lot of wraps on it. With some of these threads, they spring open, so you do need to make sure that you've got a reasonably good knot when you're using them. But I thought that what I would do is bring one in here just because, just because I thought that was a good spot for it. So with a bullion knot, it is having your thread come out and then bring your needle down. So what she does is not take too big a bite. It's probably 1 centimetre, and back to where your thread originally came out. I'll just split that, so I'm going to make sure it's not split. Probably just need to get some things, make life a little easier for myself. Like I said, I don't want to lose the needle, which I promptly have done. With that, don't know what I did with it. No, it's going to be here somewhere. Stop worrying about it. All right, not too big a bite. So yeah, barely 1 centimetre probably. A few wraps of the needle. My advice is don't wrap it too tight, because then I did couldn't get the needle through. Put a bead on and continue wrapping. And she did heaps and heaps of wraps. So normally you would wrap to the length of whatever your bite was with your needle, but with this you do way more, and so that's what gives it its curl. You can add another bead if you want to, but I think that one is enough. And I just loved the look of this. Yeah, I might have got that a little bit tight. Let's just see if I can relax it slightly. All right, keep wrapping. Yeah, not too tight. Whatever thread it is that you're going to use. It always gets a bit ugly before it gets lovely. I'm just going to keep going till I run out of needle. All right, I just sort of, keep my finger on the thread here while I get the needle through, and it's not easy, and if I've gone through a knot I'm going to hate myself, which almost feels like, ooh, nearly lost some of those wraps. That's all right. You can. She actually let her needle come all the way through and continued to wrap. If I have gone through a knot at the back here, oh no, this doesn't want to come through yet. It'll get there. She actually used a pair of pliers to get her. Why won't it come through? For goodness sakes. It's probably trying to come through. Oh, I'm going to lose that. Now you might as well see it warts and all for sure. It wasn't, all right, hang on to it here. Why won't that needle come through there? It just won't. Maybe that's, I know I didn't have any problem with the other one at all. Goodness. That's nearly, but for some funny reason, why won't it come through? All right, let's have another go at it. The bead just shot off somewhere. I don't know where. Oh, now it'll come through. What on earth was its problem before? All right, I'm going to have another go at that. Wow, look at that. I've made really curly thread. All right, I'll get another bead because the other one shot off into oblivion somewhere. I don't know where. Not the way you would normally do a bullion knot, to have your needle through here, but I can probably manage to control that by hanging on to it. It might have just been too tight. You know, it's funny, isn't it? You can do things off video, and the minute you turn that camera on, something happens. I don't know what, but it's just something happens. All right, slowly, slowly feed your needle off. It's going to keep going through there. I'm going to have a few more wraps. And she certainly did this with her needle through already, continued to wrap. So all I'm doing is feeding those loops down the needle. I'm going to have a couple more because I want this one to be a long one. How not to do a bullion knot. So then what I'm going to do is just pull that through, holding the tension. Oh, I've got a bit of that stuck in there. Keeping that tension going there. It's going to be a real spirally one. Keep it going, keep it going. All right. Until your loops meet back here. Oh my goodness, I really hope that you could see that. The thing that you don't want to do is pull it up so tight that you pull the material up. So just make sure that you just pull it and then go back down. I'm going to do another one and see if I can't. Oh, of course that's going to happen, isn't it? Ariana makes it look way easier, by the way. She's a very clever lady. But like I said, I got 2 to work and thought, yeah, good, I can come and show you now because I feel confident about that. And it had a moment or 2. Good. Back down where that thread's come out so that you can tie it off. There we go. And it just makes this funny little curly thing. I'm going to have another go at doing it because I want another one near it. So let's just doubly make sure that I'm not going through any knots this time, because I have this feeling that that may have been what happened a minute ago. Yeah, get those threads out the way and bring my needle up, sort of like in the middle of that loop, really. And it just sort of does its own little thing. All right, a little bite and back out where you started. Begin the wraps. About 5 or 6, I think. Oh, you know, I might have the bead down a bit. I'm not maybe as close, so it's not in the same position as the other one. Yes, I can still feed that needle through. All right, let's have a bead now. But anyway, you can see that you can still, with a little bit of patience and hanging on with every finger and thumb that you've got, you can still get it to work even though it fell off the needle. Yeah, it just gets itself a bit knotted like that. You know, it spins itself back on itself. So like, I don't think there's a rule of thumb as to how many wraps. It's just, you know, however many you want. All right, my phone's ringing, so I'm going to come straight back. Sorry, that was the phone. But anyway, I've resolved that situation. My things are still on my needle, so that's good, my wraps. And I'm nearly ready to pull it on through. But I'll give it a few more wraps. And fingers crossed I get this needle through here this time without too much drama. Yeah, it's going to come through. I reckon I was going through a knot before. Couldn't work out why it went through easily. So yeah, it's just holding on to here, but making sure that these go through. It's really important to have a needle that doesn't, can't remember the name of it. Is it a milliner's needle that has an eye that's in line with the shank of the needle so that it's not, once you get it going, it's okay, it moves along and you can retighten that tension once it's done that. So I'm getting there. I'm just being patient with it. You can do these wraps as long as you want that tendril to be. I'm going to have a few more, make this one a bit longer than the other one. But you can keep doing those wraps even once the needle's through the fabric. Nearly there, but I'm doing it, I'm taking my time with it. I'm not going to try and pull it through too hard. Oops, fingers all over the place so you can't see. So yeah, pulling the thread till it comes in line with the fabric. Pulling that thread there. I think they're very cute there. So just feeding it till it stops. Okay. And then take the needle back down through the fabric. How cute are they? I just love them. I think they look great. They're just something. Yeah. Cool. I'll decide whether I want another one or not, but I think for now they look pretty good, and I might add a few. I might add one over here at some point. These were all finished, so I was happy to add them there. Just going to tie this off. It's getting a bit tangly in the back here because I've now gone over it with lots of different threads just to build up that texture. So rather than build it up with other fabric, I've built my texture up with thread. And little bullion tendrils. Good. Okay, I want to have a closer look. I'll do that. How cute are they? And, you know, that little bit of shiny thread and the little bead, I think it looks good. Thank you, Ariana, for that suggestion. Goodo. All right. Well, I think I'm done with this video. I don't think that I'm going to keep on recording. The thread painting will just continue. You know, I've started this one here and I'd already done all of that prior to watching Rachel's. And so then I went back and now I've come back. So I'm glad I hadn't actually I've done a little bit of stitching in these leaves, but now I'm going to add that bit of tulle under there and under there. So the next time I come back with one of these videos is probably going to be the bit that's above it. It's a lot of work, and I guess I'll still be stitching madly away when we get our next prompt. prompt. But I don't think as far as technique goes, I'll be doing anything different to that. I'll move my beads out of the way and join this one back up here, so you can see where that's going. Those things will happen there. I've got those lacy bits to add. I need to cut some of this away to increase the light, but I think though these little pops are really helping to bring that light back that I was desperate for, and disappointed when I didn't have it, and for a while didn't know how I was going to get it. But there might still be room for putting a bit of tulle under here, but I think I'll use thread for this like I've done down here. I'll use the thread for light and shade, not the tulle, but I may very well put a bit of tulle under these two here. I don't know, I'm still working on it. Mostly I'll be thread painting. I'm not going to add any other levels of texture. Might be a few more bullion tendrils that, go in around just to add a bit of texture. Cool. All right, I hope you're having fun with yours. Sorry, that just has got to go like there. So that joins up to that flower there, and that flower joins to that flower there. But I'm still really happy about just having it in, in one piece. Even that much, even though I know it's all cut off the top there, that'll fold over like that. And I, think it's going to hold its own. How good does that shading look? I just can't believe what a difference a little thing like that made. Good. All right. I hope you're really well and you're having fun with yours. And I'll talk to you again in another video. Okay, bye for now. Take care.